Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming a actor, stand-up comedian who's in my age group, a few years younger than me. His name is Ben Kaplan. He was in a movie a couple of years ago with B movie legend Jules Shepard. It was called Slasher.com. And I'm having him on the podcast today to talk about his career up to this point, his stand-up comedy, his movies and television, and what have you. He's a really cool guy. I met him at Son of Monsterpalooza with Jewel back in 2016. And it's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to this. And just in time for the holiday season. And I'm so blessed with all the guests that I've got coming on the show. It's fucking awesome. So, here is my interview with Ben Kaplan. Hey, Ben.
Hey, how's it going?
Ah, good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. How's your day?
It's a little cold over here in Reading and a little foggy out, but other than that, everything's going super.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah. Just waiting for the year to be over once Christmas is over.
Huh. Yeah, I'm, trying to get as much done before the end of the year, but once the year's over, that'll be a bit of a relief.
Yeah. So, I met you 2 years ago at Son of Monsterpalooza in Burbank. You were doing the thing with Jewel for Slasher.com. You were doing the screening and the signing, what have you. I was very starstruck around Jewel. Like, I didn't even get to talk to you.
That's totally fine. I think she prefers it that way. I think she goes hard for convention, so she's the one to pay attention to.
Yeah. And I haven't seen her be booked for one in a while. I was worried about her for a while, but I don't need to be worried about her. I mean, look how strong she is,
Yeah.
But
she was traveling for a bit. I haven't talked to her in a little while. Normally I've heard from her by now. I mean, other than just a little bit on social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so going back to the beginning, how did you get into acting? I mean, did you always know you wanted to act?
Not necessarily, but I've always been a performer of some sort. As a kid, I did enjoy acting, but I also took magic classes, and I played a bunch of instruments, and I would put on puppet shows for my parents' friends when they would come over, and I'd do impressions and stuff. I always loved comedy. I always wanted to be a stand-up comic as a kid. That was something that was pretty clear to me, and I believe acting was pretty clear early on, but I wouldn't say I was necessarily so focused as a kid on specifically acting. It was more just performing.
Yeah, I was like that way too. As early as age 3, I used to imitate all my favorite stand-up comedians, dress up as my favorite movie stars from certain movies around the house. I was doing that for almost 10 years. Doing that, I loved it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Were you influenced by any comedians or movie stars in particular?
When I was a kid, I was a big fan of Jim Carrey. I mean, still a fan of Jim Carrey, but I'd say him and Robin Williams were a big influence pretty early on.
Yeah, I loved Robin. I loved Jim Carrey when I was a kid, and I was influenced by all the edgy, dark rock and roll guys like Sam Kinison, Andrew Dice Clay, Bobcat Goldthwait. Those were my guys when I was growing up, because they just didn't give a fuck. They said anything that was on their mind,
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really get into them
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my dad wouldn't even let me watch Andrew Dice Clay till I was 9 because I discovered him when I was 6. My dad told me to like stay in my room while him and my uncle was watching him. But I'm like looking through the peephole, and I'd never seen this guy that was so cool and so charismatic. And then a few years later, he finally let me watch. My mom was pissed.
Yeah. He's an interesting guy. He's got a pretty impressive acting career too. Now he's popping up all over the place.
Yeah, that remake of A Star Is Born. I want to see that. I heard it's really good.
Yeah, I remember like a couple years ago seeing him in what was it, Blue Jasmine. I was like, why do I recognize that guy? He's great. Why do I? It's like, holy shit, that's Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah. Yeah, 50 pounds heavier and less hair.
Yeah. But he was great in it. He was really great. He's a good actor.
Yeah, I seriously think if he wasn't so notorious for his past, he would have gotten an Academy Award nomination.
Yeah.
You know. Did you do community theater and plays in school?
I didn't do any community theater. I did the school plays a couple times, but when I was a teenager, I got into filmmaking, and that took more of my interest because I could. I liked creating something with my friends to then put myself in. That interests me quite a bit. Was still doing theater at the time, but I'd say more of my focus was like, making content with my friends. Some of it predates YouTube. Not necessarily. YouTube wasn't what it is now at the time.
Right.
It definitely existed. I forget. I think there was it was still the 10-minute limit, I think, on videos for YouTube. But pretty much everything we did exists on DVD or mini TV somewhere in someone's closet. All that stuff.
Yeah.
To be uncovered someday.
Mm-hmm. And where are you from originally?
I was born in Connecticut, but I grew up in Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Missouri.
Columbia, Missouri.
And where did you go to college?
The University of Missouri.
University of Missouri.
Yeah.
So when did you start doing stand-up?
When I was 19. I tried to start when I was 17. There was a local comedy club that they had an ad on the radio, saying that they were having a big competition, the Midwest Last Comic Standing. Mm-hmm. And so I went in, 17 years old, like middle of the day. They were just a couple employees there, like setting up, and I was like, hey, I want to sign up for this. How do I sign up? And they were confused to see such a young kid in there. They took down my information, but I didn't hear anything from them till I was 18. I want to say I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
I got a call from them saying they were doing the competition again, and this is the name of the comedy club, Deja Vu Comedy. It unfortunately closed recently, but they called me and they asked me if I wanted to participate in the competition, and I had still never done comedy at that point. I was writing, but had never performed anything that I had written. So except for like I had told stand-up jokes for like friends in high school and stuff like that. But I knew if I didn't do it then, there was a good chance I'd never do it. So I agreed to, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I had about a month till my date to go up for it. And I actually made it to the semifinal round of the competition.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and been doing stand-up on and off since.
Yeah, I've been doing stand-up on and off since 2006. I started in San Francisco, And yeah, it's been a pretty interesting journey. It gets more interesting every time I go up, and all the hatred you get from other comics who don't like your style. You know.
It's it's definitely a tough industry. You know, I'd say it's a pretty lonely one. I also do improv, and you know, I get more out of doing stand up. I want to say, but like. Mm-hmm. I'm more drawn to improv just because of the group mentality of it, and it's a lot more supportive. You know, it's not, and also, you know, you're making shit up on the spot, so you can have a bad night. It's like, well, who gives a shit? But like stand up, you know, it's just you up there with your ideas, your writings, and you know, only you to be judged for it. And that can be tough.
Yeah. You won Rooftop Comedy's National Stand-Up Comedy Contest.
Oh no, I did not win. I was a semifinalist.
Oh, okay.
But that was a national stand-up comedy contest. That was pretty cool. That was back in 2009, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was a college stand-up comedy contest, so they came through Mizzou, and like me and I think 4 other guys,
mm-hmm.
3 or 4 other guys moved on. And then we went to perform at the Funny Bone in St. Louis. And yeah, it was a really great time. Really interesting experience. I was only 20 at the time, and most of the people who went, they sent a bus to drive like the comics, and then anyone from the university who wanted to come see the show to the comedy club. But most of the people who went were underage, so it was a very sober audience because like it was being broadcast on the internet, I want to say, and it was, and they were filming to cut it up to televise it, I believe, and so they were you know, a lot of fake IDs got turned down that night. It was not a fun crowd. There was a lot of people with fake IDs that were expecting to get a bus ride to St. Louis, get hammered, and then get a safe bus ride home, and you know, got that bus ride to St. Louis to find out that they were not going to be drinking and would still have to watch 2 or 3 hours of stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, my memory of it is like my memory of that night is that no one laughed. And I go back and I watch the video, and I actually did get a pretty good response, but like I was so scared of that audience because like the first guy who went up, who I don't think he does stand up anymore. If he does, I hope he learned some shit. He got up there and he had brought like a water bottle with him full of vodka, and this guy just got fucking tanked.
Yeah.
Before he got on stage, and he opens up with a Heath Ledger overdose joke, which Heath Ledger had just passed away, I want to say, and like. It was just it was not a funny joke, and it did not go over well. Anyway, you know, it was just all shock value, and he got super flustered. And there was 2 girls. I guess one of them was talking to the other one in the front row, and he spent the rest of his set just yelling at these girls. And they cut his set early, and that was the beginning of the night. It was. So like everybody was very intimidated by this audience. Like everybody's like, oh no, I don't want to get up because like the audience was it just seems so scary. But looking back and like watching the videos of everybody, it was fine.
Yeah, I've had some pretty crazy nights like that too and stuff. Too many to talk about though.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty bad ones though. So what year did you move to LA?
2011.
2011. And did you like immediately go to like the Improv and the Comedy Store or any clubs to like showcase?
No, I was a fool. So I moved out here. You know, I felt like I had good momentum as a stand-up comic, and I really didn't know what to do with myself when I first got out here. Like, I know what I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to pursue acting. I wanted to pursue filmmaking. I wanted to pursue comedy. But I really was like at a loss for how to pursue acting, and so I put everything aside for a bit to focus on that. And looking back, I'm like, I could have easily been doing open mics and doing shows when I first moved out here, but it took me a little while to get into the LA stand-up scene.
Wow. Yeah, couple of years ago, the first time I went down to LA in like 25 years, and I was just following my car accident, recovering, and I wanted to get stage time down there, thinking that the rules were like, you know, the rules that we have in the Bay Area, and that they had the old system at the Comedy Store or what have you, and I found out that it wasn't like that at all. In fact, I've heard a lot of professional comedians on podcasts say how much they dislike the new rules of, you know, signing up and it's a lottery. You know, it's just it's a clusterfuck. You know,
the LA comedy scene is stand-up comedy scene is definitely a very unique one. You know, in the Midwest, it was always like, you know, you go do you call and you ask to get some trash time at the top of the show, and if you're lucky, they'll give it to you, and you don't mess it up, so they let you come back and do it again, and then you hear from a buddy that they're doing trash time somewhere else, so they help you get in there, and, you know, you just kind of, you know, earn your time. You know, I had never done a bringer show till I got to LA. That's weird.
Yeah, I did a couple of them.
I mean, I guess that's not entirely true, but like the equivalent of the bringer shows I did in the Midwest, my pay was based on how many heads were in the audience that when they got tickets that they were there to see me. It wasn't a thing of like, you bring X amount of people or don't think about performing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just too much and stuff. I hope there's going to be another comedian strike, so all that shit will go away.
Oh yeah, I mean, bringer shows are definitely I came to find are not the way to go. You know, open mics are definitely it, but there's some, I don't know, there's some weird culture with open mics, just weird stuff that it's like it doesn't fit most comedy, but it you know, at a show where everybody else in the audience is other comedians, you know, it seems to, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just.
You know, I will say there's nothing more enlightening about whether your comedy works or not than like performing for an audience who is not comedians at all, except for maybe it's one or two out of a full audience, you know, and they don't know who you are, but they're there to have a good time. And you know, if a joke lands with that audience, you know it's a good joke, and if it doesn't, you know, you got to rework it.
Yeah, it's a weird time for stand-up comedy, I think.
Oh yeah.
But you started working. Did you start working in television and movies right away when you got out there?
In a sense, when I first moved out here, for the most part, for pay, I was doing extra work. You know, that's a friend of mine who had moved out a couple months prior to me had been doing that, and he was earning his living that way. So that was, you know, most days of the week I was on some TV or movie set being the guy having a big conversation real deep in the background. And that was most of my existence when I first moved out here. But it was good. I got to talk to a lot of people that way. Got to hear from, other young people that had just moved to LA, what they were doing, what was working for them, how they were, chasing work. I definitely learned a lot, or at least it set me on a path. I don't do extra work anymore, but I definitely, if anybody's listening who is, looking to pursue acting, I would definitely say it's not a bad place to start, just to demystify the whole idea of being on set.
Yeah. I know I've been an extra in a couple of things. I enjoy it, and you're there all day creating art and getting free food at lunch.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I definitely saved a lot on groceries when I was, doing extra work on the regular.
Yeah, you just got to hit the gym afterwards.
I remember there'd be times where I'd get I would get home at 1:30, 2 a.m., and I'd have a 6 a.m. call time. It's like, well, if I'm going to work out, I got to do it. If I choose not to work out, I'm never working out. So
yeah.
I'd get a quick hour in, and then I'd go sleep for 2 hours and head back to set.
Yeah.
Not the healthiest way to go about things.
No.
But,
Yeah. So you started. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
When you're new to Los Angeles and you're trying to figure out how to get this industry to pay attention to you, you got to pull out all the stops, or at least you think you have to. And I think that is true, but I eventually learned that hurting myself doesn't really get me any further.
No, that doesn't get anybody further. So you started acting in movies and shorts and television shows like Pillow Talk and Roofies and Weekend Warriors and what have you. But the role that I became aware of you was Slasher.com, which was screened at Son of Monsterpalooza. So how did this movie come about?
Actually, as a joke. It started as a joke. I'm not kidding. So I was also a producer on it, and I was one of the first people, I guess, working on it, because it started as a joke between the director and I. He and I were trying to produce a different film. It was a sci-fi drama.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a date in mind of when we were going to move into pre-production, and it was just becoming more and more clear that we were not going to get enough money to do it right. We were going to need to build sets, and there was a scene where one of the characters in an MRI machine, and it cost as much to film a scene in an MRI machine or to get an hour, as it does to get a doctor's appointment and have an hour in it. So to have a full day there would have, been an entire budget for a different low-budget movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just, we came to the conclusion that it wasn't happening, not then at least. And, Chip and I were talking about how we were both, bummed out that we weren't making a feature. And, we had just filmed a bunch of shorts and internet content, one of which was a short film called Bag, which was a horror short that we did for an online film festival that actually, the winner of it was the short that became the feature Lights Out. So at least 2 features came out of that season of that festival. we joked about, we joked about like, well, we could always turn Bagged into a feature film, and Bagged is like, it's a very bizarre little horror short that we made, written by Chelsea Andes, who also wrote Slasher. And, we were joking about like, this person is trying to kill this person, but little do they know, this person's actually trying to kill them as well. And it was totally a joke. And then all of a sudden, at a certain point, Chip was like, you know what, I could write this movie. And so he went to Chelsea and they figured it out. And a couple months later, we were on set.
Wow. And Chip Grubera, I mean, he's been making movies for a while now. He's also a Missouri guy, but he's a little bit older. How did you meet him?
I actually met him, I want to say when I was 18. I was on set for a film he was producing. He's a professor at the University of Missouri. He teaches post-production film and film-related classes. But he was producing a feature film that was being shot by students and directed by a student. And so he was there as not only as a producer, but in sort of a mentor capacity of, trying to, let them make mistakes, but also help them remedy them. And I got cast in a segment of it that was a rock opera horror film. And it was a fun role. I got to sing about how the lead's boyfriend was a dick, and at the party, she and I end up sharing a kiss. The killer shows up and stabs me. I'm bleeding out right before I die. She comes back, and I have this big song with her, and then I die. It was great. I was just fascinated by him because, he had done Song of the Dead at that point. He had done a film with Mil Mascaras. I was just like, I found out he was a teacher, and I was like, holy shit, what do you teach? Because at this point, I was pre-med. I was planning on being a doctor who would, try to act on the side, which is a crazy thing, and I was burning out. I just like, my heart wasn't in it. And so I meet this guy who's telling me he's teaching film at the university. I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize that this was something that was available to me. It's like, whatever classes you're teaching, I'm taking them. So the next semester, I signed up for his classes, and over the years, we became friends and eventually business partners, and we've made, I don't even know how many shorts and internet content together. And then Slasher was a big culmination of all the years of us working together.
Wow. And how did you get Jewel involved?
Jewel I met on set in LA, and she had, Jewel's been a friend of mine for years. She was actually, I met her pretty early on in LA, through me living in LA. And so after talking to Chip, that conversation where he said, this is an idea that I can work with. I was like, well, my friend is Jewel Shepard. I bet she'd be interested. And so as soon as I got off the phone with him, I hit her up. And I was like, hey, Jewel, would you like to act in a movie in Missouri? That's about all the details I have for you right now. And she's like, for you, sure. So she was attached to it almost immediately.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. I like the movie a lot. It's got this Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Hills Have Eyes vibe to it. It's like a real throwback to those movies.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It's a very fun one. I'm proud of what we did.
Yeah, when I saw like, you know, that little tangent you go on towards the end, I was just laughing my ass off and going, this guy, he's hilarious and he's a good actor. He's gonna be a star next few years before me. God damn it.
Well, thank you for saying that. Thank you, and yeah, I hope I love where I end up at the end of the film, and I hope we get to do a sequel. So you know. Um, we can start the film with me already being that guy. The audience is, already aware, or should be aware, or could be aware. I guess if we do a sequel, they don't have to watch the first one. We'd be glad to just have them watch.
Yeah, I hope
any of them.
I hope you guys do make a sequel, but just the indie market is just so fucked up right now.
It's an interesting market. It's there is a mile for success making a film that no one's heard of. But with international distribution, there's a lot of people just cranking out movies, regardless of whether or not they're any good. Because if they make a couple bucks in 1,000 countries, they've made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I just think, it's easy to make movies, but it's just hard getting them seen.
Yeah.
I hope that changes pretty soon, but
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I mean, the business is always evolving. It'll definitely change. Who's to say if it'll be for the better? There's definitely companies that exist now for distributing films that would be something you'd wish exists, like companies like Distributor, where you don't even need a distributor. You just go to them, and they try to get you distribution deals the way a distributor would. I've never worked with them, but there's if I knew someone like them would exist when I was much younger, I don't know that I'd say I do things differently, but I would know a focus. I'd know a direction to go.
Mm. Yeah. We'll see what the future holds, though. Do you have any upcoming projects you want to plug?
Well, I have a short that I both was a performer in and a producer on, called Murder Tag, that's doing its festival run right now. It'll be in Bloody Horror International Film Festival in a couple weeks, which also hosted Slasher years ago. We won Best Feature at that one. Mm. That one's making its rounds. I'm in another short that I did with the same group of people. We're called Haunted Soup is the name of our production company. Our second short is called Toilet Trolls, and that should be coming to festivals in the next couple months. And then Chip and I are working on something that I don't know that we can say much about it yet, but he and I are working on another feature together. It'll be different from Slasher. It'll still have horror elements, but it's a very different film. It's not a slasher film. It's somewhat of a paranormal thriller. But that one, we should be making some announcements on that within the next couple months. And then there's been a film that feature that I produced that's almost finished. Mm-hmm. We're putting the final touches on it. It's online. It's a Screw Off. It's going to have a different title. I don't know that I can say the new title yet, mm-hmm. but that should be coming out this year. I would guess that one will be out by the summer, but there's no official dates on that. So if it's out in 2 months or a year, please nobody kick me.
Yeah. You're a busy guy, and I hope everything works out successfully with these projects.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, Ben. Thanks for coming on. And I hope you have a happy birthday next week.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
You are the first person to wish me a happy birthday, so thank you.
Yes. And I hope you have Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and a great day. And let's talk again sometime.
Back at you. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Ben Kaplan. Ain't he a cool dude? Thank you so much, Ben. You're a cool dude. You're a talented, funny guy, like I said, and you are on the verge of making it huge. And if I'm wrong in this assumption, and it is rare that I'm not, then I don't know what else to say. But you are going to make it. I can feel it, and I know it, Ben. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.